Hello, John.
Hello, Oliver.
Today we're going to talk about something very controversial: rural broadband in Ireland. Finally, people are going to get the internet in the outskirts of, in the middle of nowhere, or somewhere.
Yes, because it's funny, broadband, as far as I know, become fairly widely available in this country. Damn near 20 years ago. It was going before that, but I think it became more widely available around that time. People could use the internet. Isn't that right?
Yeah, so the internet basically kicked off in Ireland around 1991. There was lots of adverts by Aircom, and we've had fibre optics for over 20 years. But so it's taken from 1991 to now, 540,000 people haven't access to broadband. They'll only have it now in 2020.
Well, right now, the people that we say got the access, when it's sort of the internet become available, did like Google and all these ones now that we know about, was the speed in 1991 could you connect to the broadband or the internet as quick as you can now?
Oh God, no! Because you're talking about you're talking about in 1991. Most people on their computer would have what's called a 26K modem, right? So what would happen is to download a picture, it would take forever, just to a picture, and you couldn't watch a video, right? Then it went up to 56K, then 120 ISDN.
How many years was that over?
ISDN, then it went to 1,128K. So by 1998 in Dublin, we had a fairly fast broadband. It was ISDN, it was called.
But so 98 to 2000, that's kind of 20 years ago, isn't it?
Yeah, so 20 years ago was at a reasonable speed in Dublin.
Yeah, that's what I was just trying to it, because I got to understand that I tried to do it when I was working. Especially when I was working for myself, and I thought it might be an aid as regards sending emails. And that was the thing I was interested in, because I was doing everything by by the pen, and doing it the traditional way, but doing it effectively and on top of it. But then I got a mobile phone, which at the time was 96, which was 088, and it was a cumbersome sort of a thing and absolutely useless. But then it changed to 087 and it improved in 98. And when I got one, it was like not too many people had mobile phones.
You were posh.
And yeah, well, as I say, the only reason I got it was because I was going into business, and the mobile phone was going to be important for the business. So fortunately, when I did go into it, the mobile phone was there, because I couldn't just have somebody in an office and you know, they were able to ring me directly, and that's how I was on top of it.
So you saved on secretary fees.
I had a landline with a kind of an office.
Answer machine.
With a place that did some deliveries for me. I did most of them myself, because initially they weren't big, so I was able to look after that. But any big orders that I got, they were able to do it and store it, and then they had a phone, so I was able to use that, and I used it. Even when I wasn't with them anymore, I kept that address because it was the address on the business. So I'm just saying this as regards the internet. I didn't pick the internet up until I retired in 2006. And then I tried to learn it beforehand, but I managed to do it in such a way, and forking out money, so I couldn't pick it up in a fit. But as soon as I retired, I got to understand it after 2 lessons. Which cost me nothing. Yeah. So anyways, we're talking about the broadband.
So the cost of the broadband, anyway, they're saying is going to be 3 billion, which is completely ridiculous. Micheál Martin has got the right idea when he says that we should use the existing ESB infrastructure. Okay, that's a very good idea. And one of my qualifications is actually a network engineer, so I know what they're all talking about, okay, when it comes to this.
Good.
So the best way I would see, and the most cost effective, and it'd be half the price, would be to use the ESB network, but also use GSM broadband. So in other words, 4G and 5G broadband.
What does GSM stand for?
Oh God!
It's a word. It's in the.
It's basically mobile broadband.
Yes, and it's a higher. You can be connected quicker than you would be in some other.
It's more versatile.
More versatile. Yeah.
And you can put nowadays there's new technology where you can put an aerial on your roof, right? You point it to the nearest mast using an app on your phone. That actual aerial on the roof connects to a modem inside in the house. Okay, and the speeds are absolutely fantastic.
Well, that sounds very sensible.
It is.
To do. It doesn't require all the infrastructure that this government has decided to pursue, which has been called into question by the Secretary of the Department of that's responsible for giving the money, and the Minister Pascal Donoghue was interviewed on the RTE, the Renegade PR organisation, and he came out with that on balance that he thought it was a good idea.
Yeah.
This is what he said, and he was sitting, being interviewed. Prior to that, Mr. Barricker and somebody else was interviewed, so that's all he was on it for half an hour. The news there one out there recently. So he says that's okay. Oftentimes, if they were spending 100 million, they'd be talking about problems. So it's okay. It's not okay because most experts in the field, including your good self, because you're well qualified, Oliver, reckon that it would be at the excess of 500 million to have a much more satisfactory system installed at a fraction of the price and more effective.
That's right.
Because the Secretary called the thing into question from a risk point of view. So it is about, as per usual, they picked the worst option, the same as they did with the address system for homes, the postal address. There was recommended system that would cost little or nothing, which would be an area postcode, but instead of that they went for individual houses in the middle of nowhere throughout the country at millions, when there was a much more effective and cost effective way to do it, and much more effective from everybody's point of view. So they choose the wrong policy there. Now this broadband, they've chosen a policy that's called into question, and it's not going to be implemented for another year or something. So they're kicking the ball down the road, as they have done for the past 10 years, the way they've neglected the rural country with regard to the supermarkets and all the rest of it.
With the way they're going about it, it's not going to take a year. It's going to take about 5 years, 10 years. To put in the infrastructure they're talking about, they're going about it in such a cumbersome way and an expensive way. Okay, if you look at GSM broadband, we're back to the 4G, 5G networks, right? 4G, which is what we have at the moment, right, in Ireland, is as fast as coaxial cable. Okay, coaxial cable is what Virgin Media use in Dublin. Okay,
and where's that, under the ground?
That's in all the houses. It's in under the ground cables.
Aye, well,
okay,
so
and it's absolute. The speeds, no, but the speeds are fantastic, right? But the point I'm making is that GSM is that quick. GSM is wireless. You put a few masts up in the mountains in rural areas in Ireland. You put Yagi antennas, GSM antennas on the roofs of houses. It's just a very simple solution
and effective.
And cost effective as well.
Well, that's the way to go. Like, why did they? I know the media were talking about there was 2 bids, but obviously for this expensive item, are they not able to be? What's the word? Are they not able to sort of have an open mind and to be go for the least costly? And also the most effective, because there's question marks about what they're going for as regards the cost and as regards how long it will take, and the fact that they're not going to start it for another X amount. Maybe there'll be a different government in and they'll be saddled with it. I hope they haven't actually made a decision or signed contracts.
They're just about to, but the thing is that I think what they should have done was, rather than say, okay, here's one solution and we're going to pay 3 billion, what they should have done was they should have said, okay, we'll do a small trial study. We'll use 20 million. We'll pick a place, maybe Dingle or somewhere. We'll try out the GSM broadband. If it works well, We'll do the rest.
Correct.
Rather than say we're going to saddle the country with 3 billion. Yes, you try.
That's what a businessman spending his own money or shareholders' money would do. But this crowd seems to, perhaps they're getting a grant from the EU, so the more expensive the better. This is why people are not so much in favour of the EU, because if they're spending their own money and taxpayers' money on this, it's a sort of ludicrous. It's nearly like the way that they're building a national, they call it a National Children's Hospital, in the worst site in the country, James's Street in Dublin. Another diabolical, stupid, ignorant place to build it. And nobody, only an idiot would go there, and that's what this Fine Gael government are, idiots. Shouldn't be trusted with ever being empowered again. I hope they're annihilated. But it's the fact that they've chosen this most expensive item, a children's hospital is going, a national one, when they've already got Temple Street and all the rest of it, and National Children's Hospital, instead of building a purpose-built hospital with equipment to serve those at 100 million, 1.8 billion or something, and it'll probably be another 3 billion by the time it's finished, and it'll be a fiasco. It won't satisfy Anthem. What's the point of having children in hospitals that parents can't get to, and it's up sky high in such an environment, and all that they're looking out on is I don't know what, nothing. Instead of being in a rural environment where there's fresh air and trees and all the rest of it, it's the most unhealthy environment that you could possibly pick. And the same with the broadband. Here they are. So this is supposed to be the prudent government that was in to sort of save the economy. Lucky enough they haven't been in too long, because they are spenders, and not alone spenders, but kind of stupid the way what they're doing. Absolutely. Everybody says that. They made a mistake about the postal addresses. Every house has one. I always have to now have it on my phone with the postal address for where I live, because I'm often asked for it. I never bothered with it, but now they must have developed a system, the people that deliver things to you, with a postal system. So there you are. And by the way, as we're talking about the broadband and all the rest of it, and I too in the Children's Hospital, I also want to say, we were talking about the earlier on about the business of the resurrection of our Saviour. If
you can just make that very brief, John, because we're running out of time.
Right. This is a picture. It says, the corruption of Catholics, we are being robbed of true love from Jesus Christ. And all smiles, a delegation of Irish bishops meet the Taoiseach and government ministers, during which the bishops emphasised their support for a pluralist society. Did you ever hear such rubbish? And there's Father Patrick Payton with Loretta Young, a famous actress, and look at the crowd in one of his rosary rallies in the USA. There must be a million or more at it.
Very good.
He was a married man, 6 foot 4 inches in height, and from Mayo.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much, John.
I hope you saw those.
We did, yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay.